Hey guys, so I've caught my limit today and I don't really need to fish anymore. So I thought, well, Kevin and I are going to sit down a little bit and talk about the setup that we're using for this fishery. Now the Chinook salmon that we're catching, anywhere from, I guess, 5 pound up to 20 plus, right? Yep. So the setup's got to be adequate enough to handle these fish, especially from a boat, where the current's somewhat swift, right? So for this trip, I brought a Shimano Claris that's rated between 10 and 20 pound, would you say that's pretty adequate enough?
Yep, I would say that's good range.
Yeah, I remember the very first time we came, we brought rods that were just a little too light. They were 6 to 10 pound, 8 to 12.
A little lighter action.
Yeah, I mean, you can bring the fishing, but it just takes quite a bit longer. Right?
Yeah, just a little bit extra time, or got to be careful a little bit if you have lighter equipment.
Yeah, and it's a little harder on the fish too, right?
True.
When that happens, so definitely got to bring the right rods. Well, but if you're coming out with Murphy Sportfishing, you guys do have your own rods.
Supply the guests in case they'd like to use our stuff. Do have adequate stuff to use. Yeah.
Right. So it's float fishing for Chinook salmon. Float fishing, the setup is pretty simple. You have a float, you have your sliding weight, pencil weight, down to a swivel, leaders, roughly around 2 feet, a foot, 2
Yeah,
2
everybody
feet,
will
3
have
feet.
some different lengths, but in that kind of 2 to 4 foot range. Yeah.
Yep. And then you have your size. This is size 1, number 1.
Either a 1 to a 1/0 in the sizes for the salmon, just maybe not too big if you're wanting to get a hold of the jacks.
Can I have more roe, please?
Oh, you need more.
Did we put
Okay,
it away?
so speaking of bait, we got some freshly cured roe. Now Kevin's gonna grab some.
Just fresh fish that we've been catching daily.
Yeah.
Put a little bit of color on it, then some borax, and maybe some curing time.
So size 1/0 hook. What pound for the leader?
I'm usually just making sure I'm a step below my main lines on the reel, so if we're having any breakages, whether it's fish or on bottom, or maybe not losing a lot of components, just your hook or end, and kind of general sizes would be 10 to 15 pound leaders and 15 to 20 pound main lines.
Yeah.
Just making sure the main lines may be a little bit stronger than your leaders.
Right. So this is 15 pound maximum ultra green. I got a Sega 12 pound fluorocarbon.
That's a good combination.
Seems to work today. So and
If the water flows higher, you can maybe get away with a little heavier line, which you might need for playing the fish, but maybe in lower conditions, the lines being visible to the fish, I like to go down a little bit to create more bites. But if the water's flowing and the heights are up, we get away with a little bit thicker line and they don't see it as much.
Yeah. Okay, so the setup is pretty standard, pretty simple.
Very basic system.
Any particular adjustments you made so you can get more bites?
Little things that we've maybe tried a bit today is depth being very critical, maybe if an adjustment to be made there. Sometimes leader lengths on the weight to the hook. Little things like adding a bit of brightness in case the eggs are fading, just for a bit of color. But those are just little differences and personal preferences that you might see different on some days and not really a big difference on some days too.
Yeah.
So little adjustments, but if the fish are being picky, maybe adjusting to that or remembering what's working and adjusting to that each day just might be a little different as the days go.
Yeah. So as we talked about earlier, the fishing is somewhat challenging today, not because of the lack of fish, but because the river height is a little higher than usual.
Yeah, just maybe
so
the fish behavior.
Yeah, the fish are not holding at any particular spot, but they're moving quite a bit, right?
Yeah, kind of traveling, migrating a high percentage of the fish.
Yeah.
Where some of them are staging, but maybe a high percentage or more than half the fish in the river are traveling. As we're fishing and being lucky on the timing when the fish are coming by at the time we're fishing. We're also hoping for those fish that are staging, resting, or just in a spot they like and not traveling.
Right.
So with the water high, just more movement on the fish, not a different number maybe in the river, but maybe a different behavior of the fish. Moving.
And you were saying that, when that happens, the strategy might be better just to stay at one spot, waiting for the fish to move through.
Yeah. Sometimes while moving, you could be moving while some fish are moving, and that's just unlucky at that time. you could get lucky with the timing and move when some fish have moved, but sometimes also checking water that hasn't been covered or looking in all the staging areas for possibility of holding fish more so.
Well, we've been staying at this spot for quite a while now, for the good last 3 hours, I'd say.
Okay, yeah.
And the bite just kind of came on and off throughout the
A
whole.
little bit of action, then quiet for a while, then a little bit of activity. So it kind of comes in waves, maybe according to the fish moving by at the time, or also just kind of attitudes of the fish that are holding here.
Yeah.
They get a little bit active, and then they get a little bit cautious. So.
Right. Now let's talk about the fall fishing salmon fishing season over here. It's not just September. We've been coming back here in mid-September every year for the Chinook salmon fishery. But this fishery actually extends all the way into October, would you say?
We are fishing even some of the salmon in some areas into November, but I would say the month of October can be good as the fish start to migrate up the river system, different areas or other river systems as well, a little different timings.
Well, even it depends on the weather too, right? You could get some fish that come in at the end of August.
This year we had a little bit more rain on the earlier calendar dates than what we normally see.
Yeah.
So sometimes that will enhance the movement of the fish earlier than what we would see without the rain. It is a natural factor that boosts their migration a little bit or enhances them to go, or gives them a bit of motivation to travel.
Right.
It's a natural thing with this river being so large for water. We don't always need the rain to make the fish move. Their biological clocks will tell them when, and even if it doesn't rain, can have enough water to move. Just some smaller rivers might be suspect to having the rain to make enough water for them to move.
Great. Well, perfect. Catch one.
I'm trying, but it's taking forever. Talking about setups, I have my pin rod because I don't have a level one anymore.
Yeah, one of the advantages of using a bait casting rod is that you can retrieve your gear a lot faster than the center pin setup. So you save quite a bit of energy for lazy fishermen like myself.
Watch out for your rod.
Yeah. Would you say this fishery, for people coming out to the lodge, do you get a lot of inexperienced anglers coming out, newcomers?
Quite a mix.
This is
first-time anglers to any fishing, to people who have fished the world for many species and many years, or been here many years catching these fish with us.
Because I would say this fishery, it's a great place to learn because the abundance of fish, right?
Yep, and maybe techniques. We're just talking about one technique or method of catching the fish, but this fishery has multiple techniques you can try or methods of fishing to practice. Or
It's a great platform to learn because you're on the boat. You don't have to walk around too much, and you get to ask Kevin lots of questions if you have any. And running on the bait again.
Yeah. Well, look how we saw Lakin this morning with his dad fishing.
Yeah,
we have this kid who's grade 4. Obviously, he does have experience, but you can just see how he can do it all by himself, from hooking to fishing or fighting and landing the fish on his own.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
It's for a kid getting to a salmon, it's pretty exciting, right? You don't forget it. Yeah, it's
not like a little stocked rainbow trout.
Mm-hmm.
It's it takes skill.
Totally, yeah.
Nice fresh piece.
I could borrow some of his skill right now.
A little bit of luck involved.
Little Lakin's out fishing today.
Yeah, I had my chances. Thank you. Okay, Kevin, show us where these fish are at.
All right,
Come on, guy.